I believe that if Bakugo ends up fighting All For One alongside Midoriya, then he's going to get his quirk taken. Okay. Ooh. Hey, what's up? It's me, Mosey. Welcome to my channel where I talk about anime and I do anime related things. It's theory time. In this video, I will be talking about something that I'm super excited to talk about, and that is Bakugo from My Hero Academia, and I will be making predictions as far as what Horikoshi meant when he said that Bakugo would have a big moment coming up that fans who loved him and fans who hated him could all look forward to. So yeah, now I'm finally sitting down thinking about it, and I'm going to share with you all what I think he could mean by that. I've come to the conclusion that Bakugo is going to lose his quirk. This theory of mine is not based off of anything that we've seen so far in the story, like plot-wise, or any foreshadowing that would happen, but it is solely based on what we've seen from Bakugo's character arc and how he's been developing over the series, and what I think would have to happen for him to have a completely rounded out character. In this video, to give you a little table of contents, I will be discussing Bakugo's past and his current state of mind, the parallels between himself and Midoriya, the scenarios in which Bakugo could lose his quirk, and lastly, I will be talking about why I believe that he will end up quirkless and not dead or otherwise time traveled. Before we get on to all that, here's the obligatory YouTube speech. If you like this video, then like this video. Leave a comment on my channel. It lets the algorithm know that I'm cool. And subscribe if you like little anime stuffs like this. And yes, why am I clapping? Oh, also, when this video is being recorded, they just released chapter 344. And so, spoilers up until chapter 344. Let's get into it. We all know how Bakugo viewed weaker people, specifically Midoriya, when they were growing up and during his early months at UA, and how generally awful his worldview was. He used to look down on people that needed saving or that required help. He was raised to hold one thing in high regard, and that is quirks, or specifically his quirk. When he got his quirk, he was told that he would become a great hero someday, so he clung on to that dream that people said that he could achieve, and eventually it morphed and gave him the personality of a catastrophic a-hole. Throughout the series, Bakugo has been paying for his bad actions. He's had loss after loss, and even when he won, he lost in his own mind. This whole time, he has been suffering and growing and learning, and I know that's controversial. Does he really suffer? I think he kind of does. We learned through his mental breakdowns in season 1 and season 3 that despite his arrogant personality, Bakugo keeps a running list of all of his mistakes and his miscalculations, and they eventually build up and blow over and explode. He feels obligated to prove to himself that he's worthy of all the praise that he's received, and that he's actually capable of being the #1 hero by overcoming any and all challenges that are thrown his way with an indisputable victory. During the class 1A versus 1B battles, we finally see Bakugo win against his peers on his own terms by deciding to save people in order to win. But the thing is, I don't think that Bakugo is done losing. Fast forward to the manga right now, where lately Bakugo hasn't had any big scene since his apology. He apologized to Midoriya, saying that he always looked down on him because he was quirkless, but he always felt like Midoriya was above him. Now they're starting the war against the villains. During the last war in chapter 285, Bakugo of course made a sacrifice for Midoriya, pushing him out of the way before All For One could get to him. He mentioned, however, that his body moved on its own, and that is exactly where Midoriya started his journey. So let's talk about these similarities in their journeys. Midoriya started the story as a quirkless person who wanted to save people. He was selfless, but he was weak. Bakugo started the story with an amazing quirk, but he was arrogant and he was in no shape to be a hero. He was self-centered, but he was strong. Throughout the story, Midoriya's physical skill has developed much faster than his mentality. We are constantly updated on his progress with One For All, as he's able to use it at higher and higher percentages, and especially now so with all of the previous users' quirks coming into play. However, while he is a hero, when it comes to saving others, Midoriya's viewpoints on his own self-worth are not far from where they were back in his middle school days. His newfound power has enabled him to shift from being selfless to self-sacrificing. This is proven through his compulsion to save other people in spite of his own physical well-being during the Dark Deku days. Meanwhile, Bakugo's mentality has been shifting much faster than his physical strength. He has the explosion quirk, which he has found many different ways to apply, but in the end, it's his mentality that has made him stronger. He now acknowledges his own weaknesses, and he's able to work with a team, and he knows the importance of saving people, and he saved Midoriya involuntarily. Since Midoriya got his quirk after attempting to save Bakugo involuntarily, it would be really poetic that if in a conscious decision to save someone else, Bakugo ends up losing his quirk. In doing so, Bakugo would end the story where Midoriya started as a quirkless person who wants to save people, becoming the very thing that he used to hate. So there are two ways-ish that Bakugo could end up losing his quirk. I say ish because the first one is the quirk destroying drug bullets, which I believe they've used the last of in the last war arc, but I don't know, you never know, they could be like, we found one more, or something like that. But also, I don't really want to say this way because Eri can reverse it. We've seen her do that with Mirio when he came back into play, so it wouldn't really be a sacrifice. The one way that Bakugo could lose his quirk. The method that I believe is most probable is if All For One steals Bakugo's quirk. He's shown interest in taking Bakugo's quirk before when Bakugo was kidnapped, and we know that when it comes to strong quirks, All For One can't help himself. Eri might not be able to restore something that's been stolen. I believe that if Bakugo ends up fighting All For One alongside Midoriya, then he's going to get his quirk taken. Don't ask me the specific mechanics of how this is all supposed to work out, especially considering how all the villains got split up and everybody's going to be separating to team up with different people and all that stuff. That's not what this video is about, and I didn't think about that. I didn't think that far yet. I just know that if there comes a time in which total victory is synonymous with Bakugo making a sacrifice, Bakugo is going to win. And if it's a decision that he can make, he will make it on his own terms to win, no matter the cost. Then again, I also don't think that, I think that whoever Midoriya ends up fighting, whether it's Shigaraki first, then it's All For One or whatever, I think Bakugo is going to be fighting with him because he has the whole, like, why do you keep trying to do this by yourself? Like, he's not going to let him fight by himself. I don't know how the teams are going to work out. This thing is speeding toward the ending. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know who's assigned to whose study group, whatever. I just know it looks like Todoroki, we're going to have the big Todoroki battle pretty soon. But this is off topic. We talking about the other dude. Why quirklessness and not death? So death is a thing that happens in My Hero Academia. We haven't seen a current UA student die yet. I don't think it's going to happen. But is Bakugo going to die? What if he sacrifices his life? And if I may quote Hamilton, dying is easy, young man, living is harder. I think it would be really easy on Bakugo's character if he died. I think he would become a martyr. However, one lesson that he and Hero Society have learned is that idolizing people is very damaging, and that there is no number one hero. So like becoming a symbol in his death would kind of contradict what they're trying to portray now in the story, which is the idea that everyone can be a hero and that everyone is a main character. They're all sharing the load of protecting their home and making sure that everybody can smile at the end of the day. Bakugo has never once had to be told that he is a main character. In having his quirk taken during the war, Bakugo would likely have to step aside because, I mean, if All For One and Midoriya are like floating in the air and Bakugo is like quirkless, he'd be grounded. Removing his quirk would remove the very essence of who he is. And I know this would likely be the story for any hero, except Midoriya maybe. But we're specifically talking about Bakugo. And it is like literally in his name. It means like powerful explosion, victory self, or something like that. Plus, the very first time that we see Bakugo, he's using his quirk. So having it taken from him would force him to redefine everything about himself. Maybe he'd adapt to the best Genus hairstyle. I don't know. I think that if Bakugo ended up having to live without a quirk, it would be very difficult for him, and yet grounded. Horikoshi said that Bakugo's big moment would be something that fans and haters could all look forward to. I don't know a single fan who would look forward to Bakugo's death, but I do know that if Bakugo willingly gave up his quirk or willingly decided to have his quirk taken, I would be very proud of him for that. Plus all the haters can be like, he lost his quirk, that's what he gets. What do you think Horikoshi meant when he said Bakugo's going to have a big moment? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. If you liked my little analysis, then check out some of the other videos on my channel. I do a lot of analysis. Currently, I am doing a One Piece series where I go through and watch One Piece for the very first time and offer my thoughts as a creative writer person and story analyzer. Words are words. Anyway, I've been Meanie Mosey. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.